By now, we've probably all seen the incredible new TV series on Netflix from Warp and Matriarch called Adolescence. 4-part series, all done in one take. Absolutely cinematically incredible. The story of this young guy is just absolutely like so immersive and so sort of heartbreaking, talking about sort of the culture that young boys find themselves in, and young girls as well, and this sort of really frightening sort of toxic kind of manosphere kind of thing. A few months ago I did a video on a really simple headshot kind of setup, just a pop-up backdrop, like really portable, didn't take up much space, and that video was because I was doing a quick test shoot just with myself in here, because I was asked to go to the set of Adolescence and shoot the main characters, basically the younger ones mainly, because it was kind of like the first thing they'd done and they'd not really had any headshots done before. So been to production park before, which is where the main sort of set is, and it's all kind of filmed around there, especially the police station kind of episode, which was all built within production park. Incredible set, like looked really realistic. Like fooled me when I saw, like when Mark from Warp sort of showed me videos of them walking around it looked real. I didn't believe it was like in this sort of hangar thing, the production park. But yeah, I've been there before. I've done some shots there before of the actual space. It was for Production Park's actual website, like a rebrand, so I got asked to go over and take some photos and some bits of drone video as well, which I will try and find and put on here. So if it is on here, I managed to find it and include it in this video. But yeah, Mark asked me if I would go and do some headshots, basically, like really simple ones, kind of based on, like, you know, your kind of regular sort of actory kind of headshots that are just nice and simple. So got a call sheet, got there for, I think it was like 12, I think. Really quick setup, sort of 30 minutes to set up, and then we had lunch, so went over to the catering kind of area that there was all set up, and had some really lovely food, and spoke to the cast and spoke to Mark and spoke to Stephen Graham a little bit as well, as they were discussing what they were kind of doing that day. Met the cast. Really sort of tight turnaround for when we could get them over to where I'd set up in this sort of spare room, basically, to sort of get their shots in. So met them. We drove back over to the sort of main building where I'd set this, like setting up basically to get these quick shots, and then literally 10 minutes with each one. So Owen, obviously you see behind me, who's the main character, Amelie, who plays Lisa, and Farmer as well, who's one of the girls at the school, who has a really big part in it as well, and they needed some headshots doing. So really simple setup. As it's kind of, obviously, you know, you do the shots, you send them over, and then you kind of don't really see them again, because, you know, there's a long production time before it's finished and you can kind of start doing stuff, which, on a side note, that's something that you are used to when you do stuff with film companies, or especially stuff that's embargoed. You might shoot something that you can't put out for like a year, or in some cases never kind of comes out because things change or whatever, and that's just something that is part of this sort of creative world, really. You know, sometimes you do something and it doesn't see the light of day, but you still have that satisfaction that, you know, you've made those photos, or you've taken those photos, and they look great and things like that. So yeah, those guys came over and we kind of took them in there, especially with Owen. We took the shot of him with his t-shirt on, which is like was part of his sort of costume. And I knew a little bit about what the show was about. Mark had told me kind of a rough sort of idea of, you know, it's about this young lad who's accused of murder, and it's kind of following that, and it's all one take. And he told me about the episode, you know, where he kind of flies over from one part to another and goes back to the sort of murder site and everything. And then, having watched it the other day, I kind of had a plan to watch it all in one go. When it was released, I didn't really want to know anything about it too too much before it came out, and even when it came out on the Thursday, I like kind of stayed away from seeing any clips of it, basically, because I wanted to sort of get in and experience it all and watch it without any sort of knowledge of what it's going to be about or what's going to happen or things like that. So yeah, I watched it all in one go and was absolutely blown away by it. And it's probably the most immersed I've ever been in a TV series, where because of the sort of one shot and the storyline and the harrowing sort of nature of parenting, you know, teenage kids in this day and age, with things like, you know, the internet and all that kind of thing, of like, you know, you could do as much as you think you can for your child, and it still might not be enough to steer them away from something that's as toxic as what, you know, got hold of this character. So yeah, it was really, really harrowing kind of to watch it, but absolutely incredible. And from a production side of it as well, like, I text Mark after I'd watched it and just like, that was, you know, so immersive. It was so immense. It was incredible. Like, the young guys were so good in it, especially for like Owen's first thing he's ever done. It was absolutely incredible. But on the production side of it, you know, how you transition from this camera following someone on the street to moving back to a car to then flying over, like, even as someone who kind of thinks they know what they're talking about or how some shots are done, even I was like, how the fuck have you done that? That's incredible. And the reaction to it's been like absolutely incredible. You know, it sparked debate in Parliament about what we expose our kids to, and that we need to take accountability as a society to stop this spread of awful misogyny towards women especially, and this poisoning of like young kids' minds, really. So yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And it wasn't until I kind of watched it and then looked at the photo again that I'd done of Owen, that I sort of realized it kind of encapsulates what he's actually in, really. You know, this young boy lost in this darkness, and even though that was sort of unintentional, that I think the photo absolutely captures that in him. But yeah, it was a real pleasure to go meet him. Lovely kid, like really, really nice kid. Not a kid, he's a young man, really nice young man to talk to. And same with Amelie, same with Fatima as well, like so good, so easy to get on with, and really enjoyed spending time with him. Even it was like, you know, 30 minutes really we were shooting for with all three, but it was fantastic to meet them. And I'm sure they're going to do loads of stuff that we'll see much more of. But yeah, so these are the shots, and they are dead simple, but I think they really encapture what it is about, you know, these young kids surrounded by darkness and the innocence in their eyes and everything. And yeah, I'm really proud of them. And so much, you know, I printed this one out and put it up in the studio, which I never normally do with portraits of people. I had a couple, obviously you might have seen Hannah, and then, you know, in the past, like Kay up on this wall on here, there were just sort of interesting shots that we're taking in here. But most of the work that I have on the walls in the studio is sort of landscape stuff and things like that. So yeah, it's a real honor to go meet him and be asked to go and do the headshots and see the reaction to them online, and people, you know, sharing them and saving them. You know, you see on Instagram and you go on your Insta, it's like loads of people are saving that photo of him and things. So yeah, really, really good. And yeah, just a quick one. I had got some more stuff in the editing kind of side of things that I'm hoping to get out soon. I did make like a really not in-depth for me video about the Osmo Pocket 3 that is still kind of 90% edited, and I just, every time I watch it back, I have second thoughts about putting it out, but I will put it out because then it's done and it's not on the back of my mind. So yeah, that's it. That's the shot. Here's the shots. Here's the setup. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.